Hey guys, this is Where is Bishop? Going to see Batman vs. Superman. Who do you think's gonna win? We shall find out. Our objective for this Where is Bishop video is to show you how to do a movie review for a movie project that we'll be doing later in the year. For your movie review, you need to do the following that you can see here. In this Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice review, I'm going to do this and show you my opinions of the movie, and you can use the same format for your movie reviews. And for the movie, here's me and my dad, hey Dad, who went to see the movie today, March 25th, 2016. And of course, the reclining seats were pretty nice too. So before we begin, as you know, Batman vs. Superman, hence the verses, you have the son of Krypton, which would be Superman, versus the Bat of Gotham. So whose side are you on? We'll find out who wins in the end. Dun dun dun! Batman vs. Superman. Here is a rundown of the basic data or schematics or just an overall view of the movie. The movie went 151 minutes, which you know there's 60 minutes in an hour, so you can do the math yourself. It is rated PG-13, which I thought was very borderline. After seeing Deadpool, maybe they kind of were going closer to the rated R, but then they decided not to for whatever reason. But there were a couple scenes where I'm glad that, you know, they didn't make me blush too much, but you know how it is. But anywho, it's PG-13, so you can go see it. Obviously, it releases today, March 25th, 2016. The director is Zack Snyder, very good director. You'll see the cinematography and other key features of the movie that he made very well when you go see the movie. And here are a list of the writers that all partook in writing of the movie. And if you look at on IMDb, you can see exactly which writer focused on which part of the characters and or the overall movie. It's pretty cool how they divided and conquered to create this movie. And of course, we must know who's in the movie, our main cast. You can see some who's who of Hollywood today, from Ben Affleck to Amy Adams and of course Jeremy Irons. And you can see the list of all the characters in the movie. When you do your movie review, you want to make sure you definitely have this so that your reviewers can look up some of these people. I love looking up not only what other movies they've been in, but also how old they are and how they use that to their advantage or overcome their age depending on where they are in their timeline. Now, before we go any further, this is the spoiler alert warning, obviously. Sorry you're having a seizure right now. This movie is chock full of action, drama, excitement, special effects, CGI, etc. But from here on out, I may give some spoilers. So if you have not seen the movie, do not proceed. Do not proceed. This is why this is extra credit. And you won't watch this for class for a little while. Okay? We're good? We're good? Okay. So don't hit pause, minimize. Okay. So to begin our movie review into the story itself, we're going to go over how Batman and Superman are introduced. One of the key things that many fans were worried about, myself included, is that the origin story of these two characters would be gone through over and over again. And if you've seen any of the previous movies and TV shows, especially with Batman, the story is told like 800 different times, and we don't really need to know that. Any true fan or someone who just knows a little bit about Batman vs. Superman knows the origin story. Okay, so how are these characters introduced into the current Dawn of Justice movie? So first we have Batman, or Bruce Wayne, or Ben Affleck here, and here you see him with Alfred in the Wayne Manor, and it is actually burned down, and that's from a previous incident in the Batman series. But here you can see an older Batman, he's still troubled by the issues of his past. And in the beginning of the movie, we do see his origin story, but it comes in pieces, and it's not just like thrown in your face necessarily. You don't know what is true, what is a dream, whatnot. But it's an interesting and a new take on his origin story. His parents, him being Batman, you can see are here. They are going to see the movie Excalibur, A Night Out in Gotham, like that has been traditionally written. You can also see his father here with the mustache, obviously, and his mother with the pearls. His dad was actually in the Watchmen series. He's the comedian, which came out back in 9, but that's just a past connection. So you get bits and pieces of his origin story, flashbacks, and up to date in the beginning. And here you actually see them, his parents being laid to rest on the Wayne, on the Wayne property, which is always foreshadowed and throughout the movie is kind of cognizant. And you'll see, I don't want to give the main, this would be like the biggest spoiler event, but his parents, especially his mom, is very important to the plot of the film. Okay, so now we get to Superman. This is also at the beginning of the movie, and this picture is taken from Bruce Wayne or Batman's perspective. This is throwing back to the Man of Steel, where Superman is finding Zod here, and this is our first introduction to the Man of Steel in this movie. And again, this is to remind us of what happened in the previous movie. I thought it was pretty good. I know some people who don't, but you can't please everybody. And here you see the current Superman as Clark Kent, and he is a reporter, and he's been kind of pushed into the sports realm at the Daily Planet, and he doesn't want to do that. He wants to focus on exposing Batman as a vigilante, and becomes this whole saga. Again, I'm not a true Batman or Superman fan one way or the other. I like them all. I still don't get how they don't realize, they as in the people around him, that Clark Kent is Superman because he only has the glasses on. If you take your glasses off, you're still the same person, but whatever. It's the way it works. So go DC. And also in this movie, we have Lois Lane again. Amy Adams, one of my favorite. My name's Amy, obviously. But she's also cool. So now let's go over the plot summary. So what basically happens in a nutshell is that Batman doesn't feel that Superman is the savior of the planet. He feels that he brought all the issues and the war and the death from Man of Steel to the planet, and that it was his fault. And there's a memorial to Superman and remembering the people who lives were lost in Man of Steel. Kind of like it was almost like a mix-up or a mash of like a Greek statue and the Vietnam Wall in DC. And that was kind of like a like almost like as the Messiah or as a god, and Batman doesn't think that's right. Batman continues to think that. Ironically, it's a little bit like the Civil War debate with Iron Man and Captain America, but I know I'm crossing, you know, DC versus Marvel. So here we have the new rendition of Lex Luthor, and he actually is the one who has a party for the library of Metropolis, and he is going to almost make Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent meet, and this is the first time that they meet face to face. Then they're going to battle because Lex Luthor is actually going to set up Superman in 2 separate occasions to look guilty. One, that he killed some terrorists and he was going in and killing innocent people, not just quote-unquote terrorists. And then also when Superman goes to the hearings in the Senate to face this whole idea of who should have power and whatnot, and should he follow the rules of humans, Lex Luthor actually frames him for another disaster. So Batman doesn't know this, and feels that Superman needs to be put down, literally put down, and to no longer be allowed to live. And then we have the battle. Personally, I think it's kind of quick. It's not as I had hoped, per se. But again, I didn't watch a lot of the trailers because I wanted to kind of go in with a blank template, a blank mindset going into this. So I thought it was kind of quick. Batman had a lot of cool technology and weaponry to use against Superman, and Superman kind of had that bravado, like, you can't do anything because I'm Superman. So that was pretty cool. But it is short-lived, and we all know, if you've seen the movie, why he doesn't, you know, literally put down Superman. But, well, you know, it is what it is. Once Batman realizes that Superman needs his help, and with the help of Lois, he is told that we need to get Luthor. Like, he is setting everybody up, and he's the real enemy. And we see him create out of Zod's body and his own blood the Doomsday, as we all can see here. Doesn't look exactly like the comic, excuse me. He kind of looks like a troll or a golem a little bit, or like a troll and an orc had a baby and then, you know, whatnot. But as we see through the movie, he does evolve. He absorbs energy. You can kind of get a vision on his chest of like an S, because obviously he is derived from Zod. But again, that's kind of, you know, whatnot there. And there was a pretty epic scene with the atomic nuclear strike, and when the sun rises, Superman comes and his face is all you know, reinstated to how it should be. So that was really cool, and the CGI was really good there. But Doomsday becomes the villain, or the true person that they must defeat in the movie. So as you know, I did not watch a lot of the trailers, and I tried not to pay attention too much to this part in Comic Book Club because I didn't want to know too much. But I had kind of some idea about before we watched the movie, but I kind of had forgotten. So I was super excited when we had the appearance of Wonder Woman in Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, and I know she'll be getting her own solo film soon. We first see her at the same party where Batman, or not Batman, but Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent met, and here she is. And like a certain person I know, I totally agreed with one of his reviews on Wonder Woman, that he said that she's not kind of like this flaky person in the portrayal, that she is a quick learner, she's fast. So when she first arrives, she has this epic shield. You can see the Greek writing in the traditional sense of her comics. I'm not sure about the headband. Maybe stand out a little bit more, but again, it's, you know, we just saw her in the fighting scenes, you know, in the arrival of her and the fighting scenes. We didn't really get to see her, you know, just walking around. Her shield can withstand Doomsday eye blast thing, which is pretty cool, and her costume was not too bad. Obviously, Bishop being Bishop would like a little bit more, you know, apparel, but I understand what it is. And I thought she did really good and held her own, considering that who she, you know, was standing next to with Batman and Superman. And here you see her fighting. This is kind of like the blast, or EMP blast, or, you know, whatever Doomsday we're going to call this. And this epic fight scene towards the end of the movie. So the question becomes, how are they going to defeat Doomsday? Because based on the story, the more you hit him, the more energy you put into him, the more he absorbs. So before we go any further, I just wanted to talk about some historical connections, which, you know, the average history geek, if you're not an average history geek, you might not see. So obviously this might stand out, but just to make sure we're all set, here you see towards the, you know, the beginning of the movie, that whole theory of Superman, you know, villain or hero, whatnot. This just kind of jumped out at me. In 2005, we had Hurricane Katrina, and you saw, this is actual primary source picture of that event, and here this is from the movie. So it kind of is like, you know, showing that we do need this hero. Maybe he might be flawed or overpowered or thinks he has absolute power, but we do need help in saving. And there's one point in the movie where it says, you know, do you want to explain to a parent that their child died because we didn't want him to do what he's supposed to do? How would you explain that to that parent? So that was very, like, touching for me. Also, you have here Superman saving a rocket from an explosion. So the rocket exploded, and this is a capsule with the Russians inside it. And you can see on the seal here, you can see it written in Russian. This kind of reminds you of recent private industry rockets trying to get into space and having some issues. And then if you're farther back in history, like with the Challenger explosion in the 80s, that if we had Superman, we would not have had such a bad tragedy, which I thought was kind of interesting that the director put those two historical connections in. So the big question is, who wins the battle? Like when Batman and Superman are fighting, who wins? Do we have Superman, or do we have Batman? Loot Crate, whoop whoop. So what are your thoughts? If you want to email me what you think based on what I'm going to say, that's cool. It's totally up to you. But overall, I think Batman wins. So the reason I say Batman wins is in 2 occasions, he basically has the upper hand. And I'm not talking about the whole Doomsday fighting. I'm just talking about them 2 fighting. But the main issue is Batman literally had his foot on Superman's neck and could have, obviously he weakened him with the kryptonite. He could have finished it. And with the help of Lois and what Superman says he doesn't, but I truly feel Batman wins the battle. He had the upper hand. Some people may say that he cheated and he used kryptonite and blah, blah, blah. But he used all his resources at his disposal and he wins, in my personal opinion. If you disagree, that's fine. I'm wearing a Superman shirt. I'm just going based off what I saw in the movie. For this movie review, what is my recommendation? Well, my recommendation is a must-see. Why? Couple reasons. First, which I didn't talk much about, but I didn't want to give too much away, is the cinematography. By that I mean not just the CGI or the special effects, but how some of the artistry that went into this film, the slow motion of some things. For instance, at the end, they're giving the salute to Superman at Arlington Cemetery, and the cannon goes off, and you can see the cannon like that, and it's slow, and then you can see the massive the bullet that was in, or the cannon shell hit the ground and ding, ding. It's just very detailed. Superman's uniform, or outfit, whatever you want to call it, was very detailed, and it almost had a sense of fluidity to it, like liquid. So I thought that was really cool. The action was amazing. The movie is over 2 hours, and I didn't even realize. I did have to go to the bathroom once, but that's okay. So the action was amazing. Fighting was good. The technology in the action as well. So for this Where's Bishop, I recommend and give it approval. So go see it if you haven't seen it. And hopefully you have seen it, because that means I just spoiled like the whole movie. So before I go, I want to give you some quotes from the movie. And here is another official image from that. And another good thing to always do when you're doing a film review, and even before you go see the film, is to review the poster for the movie. It can show you a lot, unlike the trailers, which kind of give away everything a lot. This way you can kind of get a glimpse and see what you like, and you can also compare at the end, was it really like this, or did they kind of adjust it? So some quotes from the movie. 20 years in Gotham. How many good guys are left? Bruce Wayne. This Bat vigilante, he's like a one-man reign of terror. Clark Kent. And those of you who were paying attention during the French Revolution, connections. Tell me, do you bleed? You will. Batman. And he says this to, of course, Superman. It's time you learn what it means to be a man. Superman. Of course, to Batman. Hey guys, where is Bishop? Email me at whereisbishop@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.